always practicing, always developing, and always getting better. The worst brokers are the ones who think they know everything and refuse to admit that they have any gaps. And the funny thing is that the old guys who go through, some of the best brokers, first off, some of the best brokers I've ever met didn't finish year 10. Some of the worst brokers I've ever known have got masters in economics and MBAs. They think that they know how things work, but they actually don't know how companies work. One of the key areas is to always just be aware of where your weaknesses are, and I've always been aware of where my weaknesses are because they are many. One of the quotes that keeps me going, and we used to have it up in my first job in broking, in the Melbourne office. They had it on the whiteboard. The wisest of men still have much to learn. I think it's a Confucian expression, but that was the motto of the guys down in Melbourne. There is such a thing as stupid questions, so always sort of think about it before you spit it out. But never be afraid to put your hand up and ask a question, especially if something doesn't make sense to you, and especially if you're talking to a company. If you're talking to a company and something doesn't add up, ask, and then ask again until you get the answer that you want. And if they can't answer that question, then just walk out. And that's saved us a lot of money over the past.
I don't have goals in terms of things that I cannot control, because if I'm going to have goals about something that I have no control over, then I'm going to disappoint myself a lot. I'm really kind of leaving myself at the mercy of the dice roll. And the bottom line is performance on a monthly basis is determined upon the market. There are some months where there just isn't a whole lot of trading opportunities based upon my particular style. And so I'm going to expect a lot less profitability in that month. Then there are other months where I'm just going to crush it. I mean, like absolutely crush it, like 10, 20% gains on that month. And I can't know that ahead of time. I don't know how the market's going to react to certain events. And there's certain things geopolitically that can change that I have no control over, that could be the kind of things where it's like, whoa, I want to back out. I don't want to be involved right now. Or it could be like, oh man, I've been waiting for this. This is awesome. Load up. So I don't have those kind of goals in terms of monthly profit. My goals are based upon execution of my trading plan. So for me, one of my goals is to be within 95% of the time, 95 to 98% of the time, I'm executing my trading plan exactly as it's laid out. That's a goal for me. To about 98% of the time, have near perfect risk management. So if I'm risking a fixed percent per trade, let's just say it's 1% per trade, that 98 of my 100 trades are at that 1% measurement. So there's different things that you can measure in terms of your trading plan that you can control. And those are goals that I want to have, because then I'm accurately measuring something I can be 100% responsible for, and it gives me a realistic way to work with goals. If it's based upon things that I cannot control, like, okay, it's my goal that we have 12, sunny days out of the next 13, I'm bound to be disappointed. And then how do I use that as an accurate way to measure whether I'm performing well or not? Mm-hmm. And I think that if you can refocus your goals onto things you can control, then we can get really clear about what we're doing right and what we need to work on.
I think to a large extent, a very large extent, pragmatism and, being able to adapt to different situations, it's kind of, again, falling back on that sort of old trading wisdom that it's, you can make money in all market types, but it's very difficult to make money the same way in all market types. So on that basis, having the ability to trade in different ways during different market conditions. And then also, having the ability to change your mind very quickly. I mean, there are a lot of times that I get into a trade, as I say, the majority of my trading is based on reading price action. So there are a lot of times that I get into a trade, I conduct my analysis, I form an idea, and I get into a trade, and then very shortly after entering it, the price action suggests that my original analysis was wrong, and that the market has moved on since then, and now I'm looking at new evidence. And I think to begin with, it can be very difficult to adapt to that situation quickly and to either cut your original trade or even reverse your trade and take a trade in the opposite direction, because you get a sense of not betraying yourself, but that that isn't what trading is about. That you go through this process of conducting your analysis, and then once you've formed an idea, that's it, you stick with it. And so, I think learning to be more adaptive and to respond quickly to changing situations is really a key to long-term success.
Like most retail traders, I was constantly looking for, what's the best pair to trade? Right? I'm looking for opportunities. I'm looking for, like if you talk in today's market, I'm looking for the next Bitcoin, right? That's all I'm focused on. I wasn't focused on being a trader as I was focused on, if I take this trade, am I going to make billions of dollars to, just retire? Obviously that never happens. As a trader, your job is to go in and out, in and out, in and out of the market consistently with a sustained period of time, instead of in and then, come on, baby, this better work. So going through that process, I was stuck in that loop for a very, very long time. And it took a series of mentors to point me in the right direction. That was basically telling me that, hey, you're looking at trading all wrong. You're just purely looking at technical analysis and without having to understand why the markets are moving, what moves it, not fundamentals per se, but there's also human behavior behind it. So stuff like that. Once I got pointed in the right direction, things started to open up for me, and I started to question things in a different way. And the idea of, if I enter the market, I have no clue when I'm going to get out. It's just a hope that history can repeat itself by doing the same thing the moment I enter that trade. So that's the very big misconception that a lot of traders have. Getting into trading is that hope process and forcing the trade to work out in their way that causes problems.
When you exit, you most of the time don't see the spread if you have your profit target in your stop loss. You don't know at what spread you got taken out. So I could have been taken out at the 10 pip spread at the euro, or I could have been taken out at half a pip spread. I don't know. So when you are being taken out on a 10 pip spread, you give a massive amount of profits back to the broker.
Yeah.
And so here you are fighting for every pip, every $10 move. And then on the other side, you give it back because you don't consider the tax that you could save, you choosing a better broker who doesn't charge you or doesn't slip you as much, and so on, who has better tools that you can use. So that's another thing that Linda Rushke was talking about today. Having a software program that automates as much as possible and gives you really good tools to work with. I never thought about that. Well, I'm a discretionary trader. I'm not an EA trader. You know more about EA trading than I do. My personality naturally is not really suited for being a good trader. And so I had to work a lot on my personality profile to change that. And I had to discover first who are the kind of traders who are successful, and then being able to model myself on that. And so I needed to learn how to add structure into my life, how to be organized better. And I'm still learning. So, that's when I said I look at other traders who are organized with different spreadsheets, with different statistics that he keeps. His trading plan is step by step, really fully detailed, written out. And so I modeled what he does. and that helped me to organize myself.